Hello and welcome back to a chapter day. It is Thursday, March the 9th. I'm sorry, May the 9th. We are past March and we will be reading Numbers chapter 9. Again, we are still reading the accounts of God's instructions to Moses for the children of the Levites, who are supposed to be the officiating people for the tabernacle, and Aaron and his sons, who are supposed to be the priests. So let's see what he has to tell them this time. So in the previous chapter, he told Aaron that the Levites will serve from the age of 25 and stop at the age of 50. So that should give them about 25 years working as servicemen in the tabernacle. And when they reach the age of 50, not that they were just not to take part in any of the services, but they were supposed to work in the tabernacle still. But as far as helping with the services, I guess they did not have to do that anymore. All right, so let's see what chapter 9 says. And the Lord spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season. In the 14th day of this month at even you shall keep it, in his appointed season, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof you shall keep it. And Moses spake unto the children of Israel that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at even in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that the Lord commanded Moses, so did the children of Israel. So we see that now they are out of Egypt for 2 years, because they said God is instructing them in the first month of the second year. So it's now been 2 years, and God told them on the 14th day of that month, which was supposed to be the first month, they were supposed to offer up that remembrance of the Passover, which is their coming out of Egypt, God's deliverance of them from Egypt. Continuing in verse 6, And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and before Aaron on that day. And those men said unto him, We are defiled by the dead body of a man, wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of the Lord in his appointed season among the children of Israel. And Moses said unto them, Stand still, and I will hear what the Lord will command concerning you. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If any man of you or of your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto the Lord. So even though they were defiled by a dead body per se, they were not exempt from keeping the Passover. So let's see how they'll do that. Verse 11, The 14th day of the second month at even they shall keep it, and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. Okay. They shall leave none of it unto the morning, nor break any bone of it. According to all the ordinances of the Passover they shall keep it. But the man that is clean and is not in a journey, and forbeareth to keep this Passover, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he brought not the offering of the Lord in his appointed season, that man shall bear his sin. And if a stranger shall sojourn among you, and will keep the Passover unto the Lord, according to the ordinance of the Passover, and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do. You shall have one ordinance both for the stranger and for him that was born in the land. And on the day that the tabernacle was reared up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, namely the tent of the testimony. And at even there was upon the tabernacle, as it were, the appearance of fire until the morning. So, even though they had reason not to keep the Passover then, God instructed Moses that they should keep it the next month. So they were not to be totally exempt. Everyone was supposed to keep the Passover. And if you did not, it was counted as a transgression or sin unto that person. Even if it was a stranger, they were still supposed to keep that ordinance. And God showed his approval of the children of Israel keeping the Passover by coming down on the tabernacle in a cloud. Okay, verse 16. So it was always, the cloud covered it by day, and the appearance of fire by night. And when the cloud was taken up from the tabernacle, then after the children of Israel journeyed, and in the place where the cloud abode, where the children of Israel pitched their tents. At the commandment of the Lord, the children of Israel journeyed, and at the commandment of the Lord they pitched. As long as the cloud abode upon the tabernacle, they rested in their tents. And when the cloud tarried long upon the tabernacle, many days, then the children of Israel kept the charge of the Lord and journeyed not. And so it was, when the cloud was a few days upon the tabernacle, according to the commandment of the Lord, they abode in their tents, and according to the commandment of the Lord, they journeyed. So once the cloud is showing above the tabernacle, they rested. And then when the cloud lifted, they moved on. So that's literally God with you, showing you when it's time to stop, when it's time to move on. Would we have been more dedicated to God had we those visual signs? I don't know. Verse 21. And so it was, when the cloud abode from even unto the morning, and that the cloud was taken up in the morning, then they journeyed, whether it was by day or by night, that the cloud was taken up, they journeyed. Or whether it were 2 days, or a month, or a year, that the cloud tarried upon the tabernacle, remaining thereon, the children of Israel abode in their tents and journeyed not. But when it was taken up, they journeyed. At the commandment of the Lord they rested in the tents, and at the commandment of the Lord they journeyed. They kept the charge of the Lord at the commandment of the Lord by the hand of Moses. So it didn't matter how long the cloud stayed. If it was 1 day, 1 hour, 1 year, 2 years, as long as the cloud rested, they did so too. And when the cloud lifted, it was time for them to move, whether it were day or night, because God knows the best time for us to be on the move. And we ought to keep trusting God like that, even though we don't see visual signs that God is with us. It's in our heart to believe God is with us. And that Spirit of God, that Spirit that Jesus sent when he left the earth, that is what is in us to urge us what we ought to do. And we need to know how to read or define that Spirit or discern that Spirit of God within us. So that is it for our reading of chapter 9 of Numbers for today. And until our next reading, remember, faith comes by hearing God's word. Have a great day. Bye.